Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So Arrow dropped a whole bunch of teasers for the 100th episode that you can see what they're doing. It's, Black Canary, Green Arrow wedding from the comics. So I'll also explain that storyline because that's not exactly what Arrow's doing, but that's kind of the joke they're going for with this. So for all of you collectively mouthing, WTF is going on? The 100th episode is supposed to be a parallel reality where Oliver wakes up to a world where he never got on the Queen's Gambit. That's why you see Sarah in these photos, because she got on the Queen's Gambit with him. Robert Queen is here, and because Ray is here, I think this is meant to be in present day in this alternate reality. But here's the synopsis, so I'll just read this. It doesn't give away too much, but it gives you kind of an idea. It says, Arrow celebrates 100 episodes. The epic superhero crossover continues, because this is the third night of the 4-night crossover. Oliver wakes up to a life where he never got on the Queen's Gambit. Robert and Moira Queen are alive and well. Laurel is his loving fiancée, and their wedding is imminent. Everything seems perfect, but Oliver starts to notice imperfections that make him question this new reality. Meanwhile, Felicity and the recruits take on a new threat with the help of the Flash and Supergirl. So what it sounds like is happening, Batman perchance to dream style. You have Oliver in this fake reality at the mercy of the Dominators, while the rest of the team in real time, like in the real world, are trying to defeat the Dominators. So as you would expect, he starts to realize that the reality that he's in isn't real. He comes out, and we've seen like a couple clips from the 4-night crossover where he's firing Dominator weapons like on one of their ships. So maybe he's in like one of these pods or something like that, wakes up and just starts going crazy on everyone, and everything goes back to normal with them trying to get them off the planet. But for the most part, when they said they tried to represent every big character that had ever been on Arrow in the 100th episode, most of that seems like it's going to take place in this dreamland where Oliver is getting ready to get married to Laurel. But for the most part, there are a couple big things that are missing in these pictures that we don't know about. Merlin would be there. He's probably in the episode somewhere, but he had already gone to join the League of Assassins independently of Oliver and Robert and Sarah getting on the Queen's Gambit. So whenever we see Merlin, they'll have to address what's going on with the undertaking, because Moira was tied up in all that in season 1 independently of what was going on with Robert. But speaking of Merlin, the other big thing now, Tommy is still alive because he died when Oliver went to war with Merlin. He died because of all that undertaking craziness. So if the Dominators are recreating Oliver's life and like presenting him with like a really saccharine version of what it might have been like, then I'm wondering if the undertaking is still going to happen. But I'm assuming not, because Oliver probably realizes that like some of the people he runs into in this dreamland are either dead or super evil, so it'll be funny to see like the clues that he starts to recognize that let him know that this is not the reality that he's supposed to be in. The other thing about this too is like you see the idea of Oliver getting married to Laurel, and you think about Black Canary getting married to Green Arrow in the comics. This isn't necessarily that, because Oliver would not have become the Green Arrow had he not gotten on the Queen's Gambit. So there's no Green Arrow. Sarah would not have joined the League of Assassins had she not got on. So there's no original Black Canary to inspire Laurel to become the Black Canary herself. So in this reality here, you're minus like a couple really big superheroes. So this isn't necessarily a comic booky thing. But just to explain that storyline though, what happened is that Green Arrow had his own solo series. At the end of that run, he proposed to Black Canary. So this wedding special issue was like the beginning of their ongoing series together, Green Arrow and Black Canary. That was like an ongoing series. But the big twist is that the Amazons had replaced Oliver with Everyman, a shape changer, because after their wedding night, great, they're going to go have sex. It's going to be awesome. But he starts to go crazy and attacks her, and she's like, Ollie, why are you attacking us on our wedding night? So you learn that it was really Everyman, it was an imposter, and that big WTF moment led into their ongoing series. So the funny thing is like, this Arrow wedding is meant to be fake. It's like happening in Oliver's head, but in the comics, it was kind of fake too, so that's the big twist. But you guys can let me know what you think about all this. You can see how they've kind of like shoehorned in some of the other characters to this dreamland. Like if Oliver were experiencing this like super sweet dreamland that was meant to trap him, he probably wouldn't be dreaming of Ray Palmer. But because it's during the big 4-night crossover, you have to have like all the characters in there somewhere. So you have like the dreamland, then you have the stuff happening in real life. So I'm not expecting Oliver to spend the entire episode in this false reality. Maybe most of the episode, maybe like half of it. But you guys can let me know in the comments, what do you think is the final thing that tips Oliver off that this is all fake? They're going from like one end of the crazy spectrum to the complete opposite. So I'm not a super big fan of weddings on Arrow, but I think the rest of the episode will be a lot of fun. I mean, it is fun to see Laurel back, but if we're gonna get Laurel back, I would rather her be like meta-human Black Canary. But none of this answers the question as to how Laurel's coming back in the back half of the season. So like she's supposed to show up during episode 10, but we don't know how that's going to happen, and that's also supposed to coincide with Talia al Ghul coming on the TV show. So even though we're seeing a bunch of crazy 100th episode stuff, that says nothing about what's going to be happening in the back half of the season. So because Arrow is on break next week, what they might do is just release more footage of this. So this episode of Arrow, like the big 4-night crossover, isn't happening for 2 weeks. Next week, there's only Supergirl and Flash. Everything else is on break. So I'll remind everyone what's going on when I post my Flash video next week. But there is a new round of the DC giveaway. It's a $20 Amazon gift card. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So what I'm going to do next is post a Deadpool video. Ryan Reynolds said a whole bunch of funny stuff in an interview about the original Deadpool character that he did during Wolverine Origins, about the Deadpool movie, the Deadpool sequel. So a whole bunch of Deadpool coming in a little while. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the trailer for the big 4-night crossover, and you can click here for the trailer for the next episode of The Flash, the Killer Frost episode. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.